If you've never been to Sturgis before, or if it's been a while since you've been out there, let me just give you a few items that I don't think you should go to Sturgis without having on your motorcycle. Number one is rain gear. Now, most of us have got rain gear on the bike anyways, but if you're new to riding or whatever, like I said, this might be your first time going to Sturgis. Invest in some quality rain gear. Don't skimp on this. And honestly, I've used some different rain gear, and some stuff might work better for some people than others. But I bought budget rain gear and it tore apart on me and didn't last long. But just spend the extra money, go through Harley Davidson. I bought the most affordable rain gear my Harley dealership had, and I've had it for several years. It's been pretty good. I did melt a hole in the leg of my rain gear on my exhaust. It was just a fluke thing. I wasn't even on my bike, but I had my phone in the phone holder and I was trying to look at directions while I was actually standing next to my bike to see how long or how far it was to my destination, and my pant leg just got too close to the exhaust and melted. So I patched that up. I made a video about that. You can check that out if you want. But overall, I just think the quality of Harley rain gear is worth the money. So invest in good rain gear. Keep it in your saddlebag. The weather is a bit unpredictable in the Black Hills, so just be aware of that. And that leads us into our next item on the list. Bring warm riding gear. The first time I ever went to Sturgis, I looked at the forecast for the week out there and I was like, it's going to be in the 90s. It's going to be super hot. Like, I'm not even going to bring any leathers. So I left my chaps at home. I left my Harley jacket at home. And we got out there. It was hot. The first night riding back to camp, I regretted my decision big time. I was freezing. We got to camp, crawled into our sleeping bags. We froze all night long in the tent. I had a buddy coming out the next day that was from town here, and I begged him to stop home and grab my leather gear and bring it out for me the next day. So luckily, he was able to do that, and it worked out. So I only froze really bad that first night. The temperature swings out there in the evening are pretty drastic. I think it probably feels worse than it is. But you can go from being in Sturgis and having it 90 or 100 degrees, walking around all day, and if you're camping like towards Custer or something, it might get into the high 50s and low 60s in the evening. So that ride back could be very cold as your body adjusts to that temperature. And that leads us into the next thing. If you are camping, make sure you bring a good tent and good camping gear. Warm is the name of the game here, I feel like. So yeah, just make sure your sleeping bag is pretty warm and you've got a good tent, because again, as far as the weather goes, you can get some pretty good storms out there. Hail, like hard rain. Usually don't last all day, but when those little storms pass through, lots of people's tents leak and get a lot of water in them. So investing in a good tent is very important. I've got a video on the channel about the tent that I use, and soon I'll have a video of a budget option that I'm pretty certain will have the same qualities that my current tent has. So be watching out for that video. And then we're almost through the list here, but coming in at number 4 is going to be cash and credit cards. And of course, this is going to change from year to year. I usually go out on some sort of a budget. The cheapest year I ever went out, I had $1,000. Now I live 600 miles away from the Black Hills, and I already had a place to stay taken care of, so take that into perspective. I was out there for a week between gas and food and buying a few like souvenirs and t-shirts and things like that. It's pretty easy to blow $1,000. I actually brought $700 cash, and I ended up using a credit card to cover the rest, and I don't really advise that, but I like to say bring cash and a debit card, because for vendors and things like that, you're probably going to need cash in a lot of circumstances, but also a lot of the gas stations and things like that around there, you want to use a card, pay at the pump, because you're going to have a line of motorcycles behind you. So the faster you can get paid, gassed up, and get away from that pump, the better, so you're not holding people up. And a lot of those gas stations just are not accepting cash, or obviously not checks, because it's 2022, for crying out loud. Bring plenty of cash and a debit card. As expensive as gas is right now, in July of 2022, you're going to need a lot more money for gas. And of course, that depends on how far you're traveling to get there. So just budget it and figure it out, but make sure you do have both. A good amount of cash for sure. I know most of us carry cards, or we have Apple Pay, Google Pay, and things like that on our phones, so those are options as well. And then lastly, my last item is bring a good pair of walking shoes. A lot of us just wear the riding boots that are on our feet, and that's great for riding. They're supportive, good ankle protection, and things like that, but when you're in Sturgis, you're going to be doing quite a bit of walking around, especially if you bring the lady in your life with, because she's going to want to do some shopping and things like that, and all the little towns, Hill City, Custer. You're going to be doing a lot of walking around, checking out vendors and shops and food and all that stuff. And what I think is probably one of the best things to bring are Hey Dudes. They're super lightweight. You can pack them down. They're very flexible. You're not going to wreck them, so you should be able to just smash them into a tour pack or saddlebag, and they're super comfortable. I love wearing Hey Dudes, especially after wearing work boots or riding boots for a long period of time. Coming home and getting into a pair of Hey Dudes is super perfect. If you have any ideas or suggestions, drop them down in the comments below. I'll definitely read through those and reply as needed. I'll be looking forward to seeing what you guys have to recommend or suggest. So if you like this video, check out this video right here, because YouTube is recommending it to you, so it must be good for you. And that's going to do it for this one. Stay safe out there as always, and I will catch you in the next video from Touring Midwest. Peace.